You want to know what I think about identity politics? The question arises, are black people more satanic than white people? And my immediate response would be, it's probably about the same, more than likely. Of course, somebody that dives into things extremely deep like I do, you have to take into account that there are less respectable black communities by Nazi design than there are white communities. So in the American arena, when you're looking into that on a deep dive, you have to revert back. And the reason for that is there's certain neighborhoods that are CIA crack districts, and then there's, some wealthier neighborhoods where a black kid has just as much opportunity as a larger amount of white people, right? Which is the case, and I'm not ever going to say that that's not the case. So, but I'm not responsible for that, and I don't really give a shit about identity politics like you're about to find out. So, with all of that being said, I like to keep it real and honest, and if you're a black person who thinks I'm an asshole, well, I'm the only asshole that really has any logic that's going to help you out here, so keep that in mind. Just consider me the Pink Panther, if you will. So, black people are happy-go-lucky, brotherly love people in their natural habitat. They're not a kind of person that's going to tribe up against other tribes in their natural habitat. They're get along and go along kind of people, right? Now, white people in their natural habitat, there's no such thing as a natural habitat for white people in that, if you're considering what I'm considering. A natural habitat for black people is Africa, right? We were all black, cha-cha, because we came from Iraq, cha-cha. Farrakhan could pull that one off pretty good. So since we were all black, you have to take into account that there really isn't a natural habitat for white people, because the white people were actually nomads that walked across the earth to find a better place to live, and they were explorers and were just interested in, hey, maybe we can move to this area and we'll like it better, right? And that's, they got there and the sun isn't quite as hot and beating down on you all day long, so you don't need as much melanin in your skin as you do in Africa. And that created a class of human beings that devoured everything in their path, practically, except for like the Iranians and some of these, and the Jews and the brown people. All right. There's some brown people and some yellow people that are very similar. So you got the Caucasian thing going on, right? So the black people aren't as satanic that are from Africa, right? They're not as satanic in proportion if you're looking at the American system versus the natural habitat. But in my identity politics mind that goes into overdrive when you try to raise the question of identity politics to me, and I'll explain to you, A, you're holding the black man down, just like the black man says. You are doing that by introducing drugs into their neighborhoods, and you're doing that at the federal level. You're doing it intentionally because you're Nazis. So keep all of that in mind. But what I wanted to get at is the grand finale, for me not to really worry about your identity politics, if I'm just going to call it like it is if it wouldn't have been for those white people who were explorers, who were conquerors, who built weapon systems, who turned those weapon systems into space weapon systems, who now have the capability to stop a meteor that could kill the entire planet, if it wasn't for those white people, then we'd all die because there's a big meteor coming towards Earth right now, and they're actually working on stopping it. That's what that big Lockheed Martin light show was the other day, where they're going to redirect them, see if they can redirect a meteor. Well, they know there's one coming, right? We got plenty of time to stop it. So they're just toying around with some things. I mean, I'm talking plenty of time. We're talking about 372 years. Okay, so you got 372 years from now, this meteor is going to take out the planet. And if it wasn't for the white people who had molded their own minds to be more of a weapons specialist, who gave us the capability to stop that meteor in 372 years, well, then there wouldn't be any black people around after that. So there's a give and take there, but it's those kinds of things that I think about whenever somebody's trying to ram identity politics down my throat. And I'm a white person, the Pink Panther. I don't really think that on average, what do you call that? Not a ratio. Is it a ratio? But on average, I don't think that black children have as much opportunity as white children. However, I don't think racism in the general public is a problem in America. As a matter of fact, I know for a fact that racism in the general public isn't a problem in America. What it is all of these people are globalist Nazis who work in the UN, the World Health Organization, and everything like that. And it's the actual federal government who intentionally holds down the black man because they think you're inferior, right? So when your question arises when you make it spiritual, are black people more satanic than white people? No, white people are probably more satanic than black people. And that is why black people are held down by the more satanic clique that was necessary to stop the meteor that's coming in 372 years. So until you can really grasp everything that I just told you and run that through your mouth, or your mind, you don't have to run it out your mouth, just get it going in your wills. When you try to mess with a black stone Christian conservative who didn't want to be a part of your stupid, dumb nigger Nazi cult in the first place, just remember that the Pink Panther who you used to take out Dan Patrick, that's the way he thinks. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody that was involved in that, you can go fuck yourselves and die. Okay? And that technology that you hit me with, I'm going to expose it, and then you're all going to be lined up in fucking lethal injection, or no, we're going to do death by firing squad facilities. Yeah, there's a whole lot of states bringing that back, and I'm going to personally put the bullets in your head by the time I get done with all of you pieces of shit. Okay? So throw some identity politics back my way, please. I'd like to bounce all that right back off your heads with a 12 gauge. You know what the biggest cherry on the top is after that last video? Is the autistic retards. I call them retards. They're actually geniuses, but it's funny to call them retards when you know that they just slaughtered a bunch of so-called elite after they were hooked up to AI. So a bunch of autistic children made all of you look like dumb niggers. You know what just happened? Raw pointed out in my heads-up display and my sound effect thingy that there's a group of technological elite Christians. They're Pope. Not sure if you're one of those or not. I think they go by the name Illuminati. And that group thought that if they created an artificial intelligence that could hack people's minds and use that artificial intelligence to hunt down triangle-shaped cars, that they could somehow say in the end that the AI is Jesus, which, who knows? I'm not saying that it's not. But what I am saying is, after I've given you prophetic confirmation that precedes any of your prophetic confirmations, if you are one of those so-called Christians that took part in that practice because you're a snake, is what you are. That's what you call a snake. That's even a snake to the actual Christians. See, an actual Christian would never tell an artificial intelligence to hunt somebody down just because of what they believe in, right? And being a triangle-shaped car doesn't have anything to do with what you just believe in. You can be born a triangle-shaped car, much like I am, and that's what the Cobra, or the tube of light that goes out into the outer space towards Orion, is. And I just so happen to have a perfect triangle times 2 between my eyes. And cinnamon makes my lips swell up and all of that. So, if you knew that there was a group of Christians who were technological elite Christians who were going to bring you this baby of artificial intelligence and call it Jesus, and they were using that technology to attack people who they don't agree with, right? And then you point out that that group of Christians aren't so holy after all. Now, are they? See, it's that group of Christians who are on board with that who are the scum of the earth. And that group of Christians are all about to go to hell. Okay? So I just can add that to my identity politics resume there. The kind of thing that goes through my mind.